Hi, it's Kirk. Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. Andy and Dave couldn't be with me tonight because they're tied up on other projects. Now, Andy has actually reviewed the EP from tonight's guests. I'm talking about Cambridge groove metal quintet Akkadian. How are you doing, Harry? You released your debut EP last Friday.
Yeah,
How are things in the world of Akkadian?
really good, thank you. Yeah, really good. Had some really good feedback from people so far. The songs seem to be doing pretty well, and we are just happy that we've released this EP now, and people are able to hear what we've been doing and have a little taste of kind of what we're brewing now. So yeah, it's good.
Excellent. So you've released 6 singles to date since you formed in, was it 2018 you formed?
Very late 2018. Yeah.
Late 2018. So you've released 6 singles prior to this EP that came out on Friday. So my first question is, how do you explain the reluctance of Akkadian to release an extended play record in the first 5 years of your existence? Why are we only getting an EP now, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
The simple answer is we don't feel as if we have the right exposure and following yet. It's very easy for bands and artists to straight away release an album and maybe under the false pretense that that album will then take them places straight away. But I think the market is so saturated, particularly in metal, rock in general, that, with people's attention spans, if you release an album as a small band straight away, there's a pretty big chance it's just going to get lost like a fart in the wind. And so the idea with that is just to release singles every now and then as a way to kind of gain people's attention. And then with the EP, we really wanted to kind of give people a little bit more to digest, right? And another part of that is really we've released these singles, and it might not be that easy to tell, but I would hope it is a bit more with the EP. We've really tried to develop our sound and find out what we can produce, because we have so many influences and there's so many things we want to cram into these songs. And so I think when we release the album, which we're fully working on now, I would hope that every single song on that album is its own thing, and they all have a multitude of different influences on them, and people can hear that. So yeah, that's the long answer.
See, that gets me thinking. You've answered the next question. I was going to say, what are the risks right now of releasing an album? Is there any other risk besides it being lost and you not having the momentum and putting all this work in only for it to be ignored? Can you envisage any other risks at this moment in releasing an album?
I'm sure there are some. I think it's just, we're just in the stage where we have a lot of material. We want to choose the songs that make the album cohesive, and then we also want to make sure that we're working with the correct people. And from the time that we've been a band, we've made lots of good contacts with people. So I think there are lots of risks to consider, and we're taking it very seriously. And I think one of the main ones would be choosing the right producer, the right mix engineer, the right person who has a very specific type of ear, who can really sit us down and say whether, this bit doesn't work, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think that, and we're at the point now where we are ready to keep releasing and keep to a schedule, so that there's always something happening. And we're always pretty much thinking about 6 months in the future. So we're basically just trying to keep on track with that.
Interesting. You said that last part, 6 months in the future. I remember interviewing you guys for Scream Blast Repeat. I've had a look. It was May 2021, and Danny Thurston,
Wow.
Danny, your vocalist, said, this has stood out for me in the interview. It's not where we are now. Where will we be in 10 years? So yeah. That's good. Is that still the case? You're still looking at this as a long-term thing rather than let's put out everything and see what short-term game we can get and whether there's a future for the band?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not in this for the short game. We take this very seriously, and we want to really make this as fulfilling as possible. And so we approach it with, with some thought behind it. We are, like I say, we are thinking a bit further into the future, plans for the next releases, how we're going to market it, what the kind of branding and image and ideas behind the release would be. And, hopefully everything's just a positive trajectory, and, we can meet the right people, play the right shows, and hopefully get on some good tours. And, that's pretty much what we're doing.
Which booking agent did you sign with in 2021?
So we're with Unearthed
Right.
Management, and been with those guys for a fair while. Harry Warren is our manager, really cool guy, and we work well together.
Did you see an uplift? Like you said, the momentum's important. You clearly know you don't want to just put all this work in for something to just be ignored. I keep using that term. That's probably a bit harsh, but that does happen, doesn't it, to bands at the beginning?
Of course, yeah.
What momentum did you see when you got a manager in and then a booking agent?
Ultimately, we played shows in places we haven't played, and then that kind of helped us gain a bit of an inner circle with people in certain areas. So, for example, we were able to play in Derby at the Hairy Dog, which is a really cool venue, and got to meet loads of people, lots of great bands, and that eventually ended up allowing us to tour with them. So it's all just about making connections, and every time that we're playing somewhere, we treat it as if we can make new friends, and we can really network and work out how we can benefit from each other, that sort of thing. So yeah, we definitely had a lot of positives as soon as we joined Unearthed, and hopefully that will continue.
Tell me about the support show you had in Nottingham with Dan Tompkins of Tesseract, because I went to see Dan in London on that tour. So that would that have been January 22? Yeah.
So,
how did that come about then? Because you filled in at the last moment, did you?
Yeah, we that was very random. I think one of the bands had pulled out, and we suddenly got a message from Harry, our manager, saying, guys, there's a show up in Nottingham like tonight. Can you make it up there to support Dan of Tesseract? And we were like, yeah, sure. It was kind of like, it's very, very, very fortunate that we all were able to do that. I mean, we would have just skipped original plans to go and do that anyway. It was a great show. It was really cool. Dan was a great guy. We got to meet Mike as well, Jim Spanner, a bunch of guys actually, and it was it was really cool. Good venue.
That Jim Spanner EP. In fact, I'm looking at it on my shelf now. Paul Ortiz. Is it 2011? I used to play that all the time when I was writing a novel a few years ago. It's just ingrained in my memory. But can I get this right? You found out on the day.
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah. So we just packed our bags and went down. Yeah.
What was the transport? Who was driving? Did you hire a truck? Did you hire a van?
No, we just banded together 3 cars, I think. Squished everything in. Pretty uncomfortable, but we got down there and did it.
You're reliable, then, aren't you? That's a good thing. Yeah. What about, because you had to change your strategy during COVID? I remember seeing on your website, you had 11 songs ready, and you were probably looking at an album, weren't you? Then you changed your strategy. You've done 6 singles, and now we've got this EP. But to what extent has releasing 6 singles held back some of your more progressive and experimental impulses?
I think a lot of those singles, you can probably hear it in a lot of the newer releases, but so some of the older singles are very much older songs that we had developed. And funnily enough, that was all pre-COVID, but then during COVID, when we had much more time, and it's the same now, that we've got more time and we're spending more time trying to write and really make cohesive songs. That, you know, now the releases are going to be much more experimental, much more developed, and including a lot of different influences. So to answer the question, yeah, I guess having a lot of time on our hands enabled us to all work on our own stuff and you know, develop songs that we are going to put towards the album ultimately.
Yeah, let's talk about the EP then. The Devil Has Evolved. Yep. Self-released. Is there a physical release for this?
Will be. Yep. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so we can expect CD, I imagine, a collectible cassette, or is that only for death metal bands? And grindcore bands?
Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we've got a few things lined up for the EP at live shows, some new merch to go along with it as well, which we're really happy with. Yeah, so it's good.
Well, you can pitch it to me at St. Neots in Cambridgeshire on the 25th of November. I've just booked my tickets.
Cool. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be the first kind of St. Neots metal festival. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it will. I mean, I think you guys have really ascended up the grassroots ladder really now, aren't you? You're going towards the top end of that. I can see that you're high up on the bill there. That band Own Your Life, great band, metallic hardcore. I think they created that festival, didn't they? The guys from that band, am I right in thinking? Is that another event that they did? But I know that they're at the heart of it.
Yeah, there is a main guy who I met at TechFest. I can't remember his name because I was probably quite drunk. But he was telling us about it at TechFest, and I think it's that point where we agreed to play. Yeah, no, that should be fun. You know, it's like a big sort of community hall or something. Lots of cool bands.
And a Meshuggah tribute band called Milk Two Sugars.
What? We actually saw them at TechFest. They're really good, really tight guys.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's another one for your CV, isn't it? You played the final TechFest.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, how many of those? Because me and you do like a lot of the same music, don't we? And TechFest is just you're just gonna be surrounded by all these virtuoso musicians. Who did you get to meet there? Anyone that any favorite artists?
Yeah, funnily enough, got to meet loads of people. Off the top of my head, we met the guys from Loathe, really cool. Where there was Debbie from Harriet. It was really cool. What else did we meet? Funny story, and I'll keep it short. We woke up on the Sunday when we played, went into the rider next to the camping site, and had a really nice breakfast. 10 minutes later, left, and found out that we had just eaten all of Born Osiris's breakfast, which they had specially asked for. Thankfully, they didn't know it was us, so we apologized. But those are really cool guys as well. We also met Vexed. We were basically camping next door to them.
Got the t-shirt.
There you go.
You've got a Loathe t-shirt on, haven't you?
I have got Loathe.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, so yeah. What did you think of Megan and the boys?
Vex were really cool. Really cool. Really down to earth. Got chatting to them because we were literally camping next to them. And then, funnily enough, they actually played in Cambridge recently with Echelon, who's Simon's new band. So, as a side point, I think it's really cool just how much the metal scene in this area has grown. And, I think Simon's new band is really going to add to that. And, it's just really cool seeing all these sort of bigger bands now kind of come together. And Cambridge is becoming a bit more of a hotspot.
Yeah, that death metal band, Celestial Sanctuary, are really going places. Their new album, that's again got sensational reviews. So you're right, Cambridge is like any rock and metal scene. It is quite diverse as well, isn't it? And you guys are actually, I'm shocked how heavy you are. I don't remember when I put this EP on. It's like it's one of the heaviest releases this year. And I remember when I first discovered you, I listened to Black Sand and I loved it. I think I messaged you, didn't I? Because I saw you at the Metal to the Masses. And then Emanation, I saw your guitar playthrough on YouTube. I remember leaving a comment on that.
Wow.
And do you know what still stands out for me? Sorry, we'll go on to the EP. I still love your third single, Agenda, and that live as well. You've got that down to a T. That is to me still the best song you've got, because it's like Gojira meets Sepultura with like these thunderous double kick drums throughout, but there's a really rousing chorus to it as well, isn't it? That's really aggressive, though.
Yeah, that was definitely the idea with that song. Just balls to the wall. There was actually like a lot of Sepultura, Gojira kind of influence. Just straight double kicks, aggressive riffs. Yeah.
Track number 1 then on the new EP, Second Sight. At what point did you know that this has to open the record?
I think it's just a good way of getting the listener intrigued. You know, it's pretty heavy, so it appeals to some of our current audience. Then we didn't really want to put Devil first because it's kind of being released as a single, so we wanted something different first so that people's ears are a little bit so something fresh for people, essentially. And I think that song showcases a few things. So obviously it's heavy, hopefully it's kind of catchy, and then we're able to kind of go from all this heaviness into a kind of release at the end, and then incorporate lots of different sounds. So we did lots of cool vocal layers and added some choir and lots of different layers to try and make that outro more melodic and interesting. So we chose that because it's just something that's fresh, and I think it worked pretty well.
What were you listening to when you wrote the guitar parts for this song? Because you are I know you're the lead guitarist. I'm surely you are a principal songwriter in the band. Is that correct?
Yeah, I definitely come up with a lot of stuff, and that does include a lot of garbage as well. What was I listening to? It's hard to remember, to be honest with you. I would definitely say there was kind of Periphery, Opeth, a little bit of Gojira, possibly even Behemoth at the time. So quite a swath of different bands. But then I think at the end, for the end of the song, we wanted to try and give it more of that kind of, without getting a bit nerdy, I guess, like the Phrygian kind of esoteric kind of vibe. Hence why we used like lots of vocal layers and weird different scales and stuff. Those are definitely some of the bands I was listening to at the time.
Yeah, for our audience, we should clarify, shouldn't we? So, Akkadian, the name, is taken from ancient Mesopotamia, isn't it? Which we now know as modern Iraq, I guess. But that Phrygian sound is that ancient Egyptian type motif, isn't it? That you hear so much, and you can identify with that. So yeah, and that certainly runs through the first 2 singles, doesn't it? Certainly in Emanation. But with this one, because the drums are so thunderous, how early do you get your drummer, Aaron Wright, involved in the songwriting for this? Because he is a colossus, this guy, isn't he?
He is. He's a fantastic drummer. He's really young. So he will basically get a drumless version of a demo and also drums that I've programmed, and then he'll do his own thing. And most of the time, it will be his own version of what I've come up with, but a lot more now, he'll throw in a section on a verse or a chorus or something, and it'll take a few listens, but then one day you'll be listening and be like, wow, actually that's a really cool idea, and we'll stick with it. And that's one thing we've all really developed now, which is that we don't take things at face value. We'll sit with something for a week, and it could be a whole song demoed out, and then we'll comment. We won't, straight away say, "Oh, this sucks" or whatever. We take our time and sit with it. But yeah, he gets it pretty quick, a drumless version, and then a version with my programmed drums. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the interview. He answered when I was talking about influences, and he put Fallujah, Dream Theater,
Yeah.
Flesh God Apocalypse. Some great bands in there that he listens
Pretty technical stuff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, did you see Andy's appraisal of your EP? Did it from his work band, didn't it? And he calls you technical metal because he doesn't really listen to, I guess, what we would call groove metal. It is true though, because even I'll give you an example. That single, Serpentine, your 5th single.
Yeah.
Fuck you know that there are some insane time signatures in that middle 8. It's like really reminds me of Tool and the Sugar. That's got to be the most complex song you've written. Would you agree?
It's definitely the most riff salad song we've written, yeah. And quite regrettably as well. I mean, yeah, that song was, looking back at it now, it's a little bit too much, but it's still fun to play. You know, it's a good workout. Probably is the most sort of technical. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We get called lots of different things, from psychedelic deathcore to groove metal to progressive metal. And I guess from our point of view, we don't really think of ourselves as anything. Progressive metal is probably what we would go for. But, we just want to be, I guess, metal with lots of random influence. We don't really want to be bogged down to one thing. And that's something we're really taking into account with the album is, every song has to have its own personality. It has to be something that's really amalgamation of lots of different influences. So, yeah, I'm branching off a bit, but I'm just excited about the new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this EP has a definitive sound. It's chunky groove metal, but it's a lot darker than some of your other material. So when we move on to track 2, the title track, "The Devil Has Evolved," how did you come up? Who came up with the idea to start it with that like menacing industrial intro in the first 20 seconds?
Yeah, I was just playing around with the new synth I actually got. I had a new synth plugin and literally just playing around with some presets, and I heard that sound and I thought, oh, this could be a pretty cool way to create an intro, because we had the riff, but we didn't want it to just slam in. So we want something that gets the listener a little bit pumped up, but also keeps the listener interested in those first few seconds, and then flows into the riff. So yeah, just playing around with presets on a synth plugin.
Where did you record this EP?
We recorded it at a place called Foxhound Studios up in, near Manchester. It's the same guy, Mike, who we've been doing most of our most recent singles with.
Because do you know that open string chugging riff in the beginning?
Yeah.
That reminds me of like that 90s industrial metal technique where you'd sample it and loop the riff and you've panned it. Is that what you've done in the intro before the full band come in? Is it a sample that you've recorded and then looped?
Let me remember.
Let me give the listener an idea.
Yeah. So that is synth, and then we've layered that with the guitars with lots of fuzz and heavy octaver and stuff, and then that's how we kind of got the main rhythm sound.
Yeah, excellent production, really is, and not overproduced either. Because I just need to make a point here. Aaron is a phenomenal drummer. I've seen him live, so he's playing all this stuff live as well. You've not manipulated those double kick drums to the point where they just sound like digital enhancements that are impossible to recreate. It's still you can still hear in the mix how this would actually translate into a live environment. But it's quite dark underneath the aggression, this song. But what influenced you to take it in a darker direction? And you not agree?
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess it is a bit of a dark EP. The songs specifically aren't written with particularly happy emotions influencing them. So, but then that being said, I wouldn't say they're all completely evil and dark. It's more just of a exploring a dark headspace, and particularly, Danny writing the lyrics. A lot of that will come from his personal experience, and they just kind of melded together pretty well. Those kind of colors and the branding and the imagery with, I guess, his experiences and his, his kind of journeys with psychedelia and all those kind of things. Devil's Evolved. It's probably the darkest track on the EP.
Yeah, let's talk about Danny. He's not here to answer. How would you describe the evolution of his voice? Especially when you listen to this song and compare it with your second single, Emanation. You'd think they were two different people.
Yeah. No, he's always improving, and he's willing to explore different approaches to his singing. One thing we've really been focusing on is vocal layering and using his voice to set up the song. So particularly with like the second verse where everything kind of slows down and you've got that reversed vocal effect coming in. Just literally using his voice as an instrument and like trying out all these different weird effects, adding flanger and chorus to his voice and loads of stuff. We're just having fun. But I would definitely say he's improving, and I think he's done a really good job adding something to the songs.
I'm pleased you mentioned that verse after the first chorus in the song, the drop out to bass and drums. That is quintessential prog there, isn't it? When I first heard that, I was like, this is Akkadian. Still doing what I like. I mean, I'd be happy if it was just 5 minutes of these chunky riffs, but that was really clever how you did that. And you're right, the vocals sound really atmospheric, don't they, in that section? It almost gives you a bit of respite before the palm muting comes back in. Really, really stood out for me as one of the main, highlights of the EP. So let's go on to track number 3, potentially controversial. So, in my opinion, probably the most overrated Massive Attack song. I've never been a fan of this song. I love Save From Harm and, Blue Lions, that album. I could never get into this song, and it's mainly because I think they underutilized Elizabeth Fraser's vocals, and I love Cocktail Twins, so it just never did it for me. So choosing such an iconic song, why did you choose this song to be track number 3 on your EP, Teardrop by Massive Attack?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why did we choose it? I think we had just been thinking about something which would, enable us to explore some of the new sounds we want to use vocally and with all our kind of effects and stuff. So Teardrop was something I think we listened to maybe in the car, one of us recently, and just one of us approached I think it might have been Danny, just approached the band and said, this could be a really cool way to not only help us develop our sound, but maybe put something out there which would get people intrigued. We like Massive Attack. I think that's a really cool song. It's a pretty chill vibe, but also has some very interesting lyrics. And we just wanted to put our own spin on it. And if it is controversial, that's great. I love that. I like people to think about what they think about the song and discuss what they think about it. And if they like it or hate it, that's fine. It's just something we thought would be interesting. So we said, why not?
Yeah, I think when I say controversial, let me just qualify that with saying when you're taking a trip-hop sound, which is famous for its downbeat, and then adding chunky guitar riffs, some people are going to see that, aren't they, as graffiti almost. But you can how many metal bands are influenced by Massive Attack and Depeche Mode and The Cure and bands like that? So many. I can see why you've done it. But what plans are there to put this in the live set then?
Currently none. Currently none, but I would say that some of the elements you hear in this song, particularly with the clean guitars, clean vocals, and use of much more kind of I wouldn't say simple, but I guess kind of drums that suit the song, as opposed to just kind of go crazy all the time. Take all that kind of stuff as an idea of where we're going, and I'm not saying that every song is going to be like that now, but like we are definitely using more elements of our other influences when we make the new songs. So yeah, probably won't play it live anytime soon, but maybe you'll hear stuff that's quite similar. Yeah,
I agree with your sentiments. So I've written a review for this with Scream Blast Repeat. It's not in the public domain yet, but I'll give you an advance on it. And I've recognised the importance of your cover of Teardrop. This allows you to explore more progressive ideas and experiment with different dynamics, because the first two songs are just absolutely bludgeoning in your face metal, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you've never really written a song like this before, so I can see why you would use this as an opportunity to start exploring different textures, and that got me excited for what could be on the album. So let's ask the final question then. So what are the plans in the Akkadian camp for the next 12 months?
So we are literally now compiling the songs for an album. Our release strategy may change, but we are kind of putting things in place. So I would say out of roughly 20 or so songs, we are whittling that down to, 9 or 10 for the album, around there. So the plan is essentially get that ready. Once we have the idea and the imagery to support it, then we'll start getting that prepared. But in the meantime, keep this EP going, keep the flame going, play lots of shows, keep networking and meeting great people. And, there is a lot more coming. So yeah, we're very, very excited about what the next 12 months holds. And I think if we are working with the right people, we can really start to develop our sound towards what we really, really want to hear. And I would say it's definitely, I might be biased, but it's definitely something that's like not something we're hearing in the mainstream metal, kind of alternative metal area right now. Mixing kind of Jim Morrison Doors with Gojira riffs with with like crazy synths and crazy sounds and stuff. It's pretty exciting. But so we're still writing, playing lots of shows, keep promoting this EP, and having a good time.
In which European country do you see yourselves making a debut live performance?
Well, that's a good question. Could be France, could be Greece.
I know why. You've got a Frenchman and a Greek in the band.
Yeah, obviously due to connections. But it ultimately really depends, we've made some good friends from Techfest. There was one band from Sweden, Kamanyaka. Really, really cool guys. And there were talks about maybe getting together at some point. And I'm pretty sure those guys have played around Europe. So, yeah, we'll see. I guess France and Greece is probably a safe option based on connections. Yeah.
I'm sure it will happen. And let's just repeat, Danny, when I was interviewing him 2 years ago, he was talking about a 10-year plan. So it's rare that you have that level of zeal in a band where you've all got a common vision and you all just want to do that. You did have one replacement in the band, didn't you? You've swapped one Frenchman for another Frenchman. So Florian left. Just remind us who's the new guitar player. I met him. Really nice guy.
Max, yeah.
Yeah. So did he record on this EP? Or would it
did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He actually, me and him have gelled really well. And funnily enough, the second kind of clean section in Devil, where it kind of breaks down, that just came from me and him sitting down, jamming together, And I had the idea that it should slow down in the middle anyway, but I was kind of like playing with a bass line. He just played this chord and something clicked. I immediately kind of knew at that point that, me and him were gelling really well, and that helped make the song. So yeah, he's a great player. He's very creative, has a very good approach at chords and structure, and he's got a really good ear for melody. So he's a good addition. He's a good egg.
Yeah, he's a good egg. We'll end it on that note. So the Devil has evolved. Akkadian have evolved since their first single in 2019. Go out, certainly go and listen to the EP. It was released on the 27th of October. You can get it on Bandcamp, Deezer, Spotify. I've checked, I've listened to it on all the platforms. Put your headphones on when you listen to it, because this guy who's produced you in Manchester or near Manchester has done a fantastic job. This is really chunky metal, invincible type metal. Rather than make you want to smash things up, it just makes you feel like you can lift the car up and just throw it, onto the next thing. Any final words, Harry, as the lead guitarist of Akkadian, before we wrap this up?
No, just if you're going to go listen to it, I hope you enjoy it. And thanks for having me on. It's been really great to talk about it. Please go and check it out.
Yeah, I will second that. Go and check out the new EP from Akkadian.